He asked me if I'd seen it. His voice was soft, too soft. The kind that drags guilt out of the shadows. "The kite," he said. "It was right here." I said no. I even looked around with him, eyes scanning the floor like a loyal accomplice. But I already knew. It was behind the sofa. The truth sat there with the dust, folded wings trapped beneath the weight of my silence. He searched for hours. No anger, just quiet persistence. That was worse. Anger would have been easy. Anger burns out. Silence festers. When he finally gave up, he sat by the window. The sun had dipped below the rooftops. He looked like something dimmed, broken, but too proud to say it. And I felt the pull, that invisible thread of guilt tightening around my throat. But I didn't move, not yet. Confession requires timing, control. I waited until the house fell asleep, and then I whispered into the dark. I broke it. The words didn't fix anything. They just made the silence heavier. It happened days before, the break. A careless hand, a wrong angle. The thin wooden frame snapping like a promise stretched too far. He'd made that kite himself. Every piece deliberate, every knot precise. He told me once, "If you ever break something you love, it teaches you how fragile you really are." I didn't understand then. Now I did. At first, I tried to repair it quietly. Tape, glue, hope. But the tear in the paper was deep, like a wound that refuses to close. No matter how I patched it, the center sagged. So I hid it, behind the sofa. And when he asked, I lied. Once, then twice. And with every denial, the lie grew teeth. He stopped asking. But he also stopped smiling. That's when I realized, sometimes betrayal doesn't come from what you do. It comes from what you let rot in silence. He carried his sadness like it was his fault. That's what I couldn't stand, his quiet suffering. That's when the guilt turned to something colder. Not regret, determination. If I was going to break something, I would learn how to fix it properly. No more lies, no more hiding behind sofas. I began watching him, quietly, carefully. He still went to the park every evening, string in hand, as if he expected the kite to find its way back to him. There was a ritual to it. He'd stand under the same tree, looking at the same patch of sky. Empty. He didn't know I followed him, at first. But one night, he turned. His eyes met mine. He didn't speak. He just looked at me, like he already knew. That look undid me. When I got home, I pulled the sofa away from the wall. The kite lay there, bent, forgotten. Its paper was creased, its spine cracked. Still, I touched it with care. I thought of telling him the truth the next morning. Then I thought of how his face would look when he realized I'd lied all this time. And I couldn't decide which was worse, his disappointment or his forgiveness. Forgiveness would mean he still cared. Disappointment would mean he finally stopped. So I waited again, because sometimes waiting is its own punishment. The truth came out on a rainy afternoon. He found it himself. I heard the sound of furniture dragging, then silence, then his voice, low, steady. "You hid it." I didn't answer. He stepped into the kitchen, holding the broken kite like evidence. There was no fury in him, just quiet understanding. That hurt more than shouting ever could. "Why?" he asked. My throat closed. "Because I was scared you'd look at me differently. Because I thought if you didn't see it, it wouldn't be real." But the words never came out. Instead, I said, I thought I could fix it. He looked at me then, not like a brother, like a stranger standing at the edge of forgiveness. He placed the kite on the table, carefully. Then, "Fix it," he said, and left the room. I worked in silence. Hours passed. My hands trembled, but I didn't stop. The kite began to take shape again, fragile, imperfect, but whole. Each repaired edge was a confession, each knot an apology. When I was done, I carried it to him. He was in the yard, sitting on the old bench. The air smelled of wet earth. I held it out to him. He hesitated, then took it. We walked to the open field without a word. The wind was strong. He raised the kite. It trembled, then lifted, slowly, beautifully, into the darkening sky. I watched it rise higher, pulling away from both of us. He didn't look at me, but I saw his shoulders ease. Maybe forgiveness was just another kind of letting go. Or maybe he was simply done caring. Either way, I had what I wanted. The truth was out. The air between us was clean again. Cold, but clean. That night the house was quiet. No guilt, no lies, just stillness. The kite hung by the window, fluttering in the faint breeze. Its mended lines glimmered under the light, proof of everything I'd broken and rebuilt. I realized something then. People don't forgive you because they forget. They forgive because they've stopped needing you to suffer for it. He never mentioned the kite again, and I never hid anything after that. But some nights, when the wind howls through the cracks, I still hear the sound it made when it broke. That small, delicate snap between love and loss. And I know some things can be fixed, but they never fly the same again.